trying to get crazy when they sing. Don't you know I'm loco?
I'm happy it's going, because in the end, education through entertainment is our goal. And we have to be continuing to push culture and put on a platform to let these artists have more opportunities and have more eyeballs. More eyeballs create more opportunities. So I want these artists that are mostly our friends now to win. And that's the best thing we can do. So you know what? If the museums are cherry picking pieces, so be it. Maybe one day we'll just have our own museum and give them all a middle finger.
What's happening, everybody? It's Bobby Ruiz, a.k.a. Bobby Tribal. And once again, believe it or not, wait, Johnny, you're getting excited, dog. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's time for the Lower Left Podcast. We're just excited. It's been a little bit. You just got back from halfway across the world.
My man, Johnny Be Good.
Yeah. And I'm Johnny Be Good. For those that don't know, I'm sure everyone knows, but
most people know. It's at his IG is at Johnny Be Good SD,
but it could be Johnny Sweats, but yeah. I think that's taken already.
So Johnny Sweats, that's his AKA, because I would be like kicking it at the pad or here at the shop or anywhere, and not so much now that he's gotten married, because he's less nervous, I think, now, or he's just kind of cooled off, but he would always show up sweating. We would be doing just random shit, just kicking it. Everybody's cool, and you turn around and look at Johnny, and Johnny would be sweating.
You know, I'm so used to it, I just got over it, so I wasn't embarrassed anymore. But a lot of it had to do with
you were embarrassed?
No, like of the sweating. It was sort of like perpetual.
So was that messed up that I called you Johnny Sweats?
No. I think it's very observational, and I think it was accurate.
But good enough friend. So I just kind of tagged him with that. But anyways, we're doing this Lower Left Podcast again.
Yeah,
believe it, right?
Yes.
Wait, but by the time people hear this one, we will have dropped a couple nice bombs on them with
we got
Obed Padilla.
That was a good one.
And then the Godfather himself, DJ Muggs.
That one was another level. Very knowledgeable.
That was a good friend. He's one of those dudes, man, that he'll blow your mind. He'll blow your mind with music. He'll blow your mind with films. Just he's got a presence to him, and he's that dude that's just brilliant and just, you know.
And you said that we're presence, because when he's in the room, you can tell, like, oh shit, like this guy's something.
Yeah,
you know, you don't know what, but you can tell.
Well, he pulled up in that
Rolls Royce. Yeah, I was like, what's my valet driver doing parking right here?
Yeah, badass, dude.
Yeah.
And then the other day I was in here doing something, and I looked down, and there's like some sick sunglasses on the carpet right by the chair, and I open them up, and they're just badass Prada sunglasses. I go, these gotta be Mugs.
Oh, yeah. Man.
So yeah, but shout out to him, Soul Assassins as always. But yeah, I was where were you? Didn't you just do something too?
No, well, I went to Nashville. I think we talked about that last time though. But yeah, other than that, just working, trying to pay for gas and food and all the stuff that involves living in San Diego.
Dude, the water bill in Escondido. Shit.
Yeah, it doesn't end. Huh?
It's crazy. Oh. But yeah, I just got back. I got back a couple days ago. Amazing. The Philippines.
Number 26?
23. 2023. We had a great crew. Shout out to the homie Ames, Carlos Macias, Billy the Kid, Milo. Special shout out to the big boss, Wilfred. And then of course Dondi, Melcher, Arvin, Jet, the homies out there, Benji, Ian. And I met these amazing hip hop acts out there. Like hip hop's really growing out there. These dudes, they're called Moro Beats. It's a group. There's 2 females in it, but shit, man, badass. Like really, really cool music, great beats, great performers. But
yeah, the crowd's amazing. Like you look at the crowd,
dude, it's
like,
mind blowing. Like mind blowing for me just to kind of take it all in and try to absorb what it really is. But it was insane. It was insane.
Question from the crew that went out here: any first timers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how did does it get old? To me, it wouldn't get old, like seeing yourself on that big ass monitor in the middle of Manila.
Oh, it wouldn't get old?
No, but like I can imagine like seeing the people that would see it for the first time themselves, like on that big ass monitor, like for the whole world to see.
I think everybody's gonna perceive it differently just based on their upbringing and where they're at in life and with themselves and their just everything they have going on. So when you see something like that, it's going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, how did I get here? How did I get there? Like and it's not just there. Like there's banners inside the event that are huge and there's different LEDs. It's not just that one. They're all over the city, but that big one that we post is the largest.
And so I see the artists have their photo up there. What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a picture of that.
That's because I don't post that shit. I don't really trip off of that. You know what I mean? It just makes me uncomfortable a little bit. But yeah, it's weird over there, man. Like Carlos and I did CNN. We did CNN the Philippines, and then we do different television shows and radio shows. And I do it as my job, you know. It's not the most enjoyable thing sometimes for me, but I don't mind the microphones. Like I'm okay right here.
The video,
you know, and I'm in the building and I get to, you're sitting next to me and shit like that. But, but I think it's sometimes for me personally, I get a little uncomfortable doing things like that. And you won't, you know, it's weird, dude. I see some crazy shit.
Or do you have
It's in English. It's in English. That's one of the beauties of the Philippines. There's a lot of people there. Majority of the people there speak English. Crazy shit, bro. Like crazy shit that I saw. Like just, it's weird. And then, you know, going out there and then coming back to reality, like the reality, like it just kind of, it's nuts. But shout out to everybody out there. The lower left Manila. It's a trip, man. Like just going out there and seeing what they're doing and how the brand has been
year after year, 23 years, and it's still going.
Still going strong. Well, it's the team, man. It's like there's great people out there, people behind the brand, people supporting the brand, people that, you know, love the brand, and you know, it's the people, it's the team, it's everything that's going on. The thing I'm most excited about that's going on out there right now is there's actually a tribal building that they're doing. It's like a 11-story building on EDSA, which is the main street. It's got a giant LED in front of it, a big old T-star on the top of the building. So that's a trip, man. It's like, it's hard for me to grasp, you know, like to understand it. And I try not to let it get in my head too much, but, it's the people, you know, it's the team out there. They did it, you know, they did it. I'm, you know, it's without them, I'm nothing out there. You know, Tribal's nothing out there without that team, without the people and the people that support it, get behind it and love it. But anyways, well, it's good to be back and have tacos for lunch today.
You know? So you get not tired of the food, but you want what you're used to.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally your stomach will get upset out there. It's some food that's kind of strange, but it's relatively good food out there, and then you could eat pretty much anything. We had some real good birria out there. What? We found a spot because the Canelo fight, the last Canelo fight, was there when he fought Charlo, and we kind of scoping out a place to find it. We found this little sports bar in the hood right there in Makati, and it was early morning. It was in the morning, so we watched the Canelo fight, watched him dominate. Looked amazing. Like that's the best Canelo
He's our
I
neighbor
think I've ever seen.
I mean, people don't know that because he lives right there in Rancho Santa Fe. And we live like on the eastern end of Rancho Santa Fe. It's called
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So he's right there by us. But then the homie out there said he knew a spot. Nori, shout out Nori from Japan. Our boy Nori was out there from Japan. 81 and Bush came out from Thailand. But we found bomb birria tacos out there, dog. It was really good. And then, but coming back was cool. But, Yeah, it was good. Regarding our guest today, I just flipped that one real quick. This dude is an amazing individual with a hell of a story, and that's what we try to do on the
Lower Left podcast. Are we starting over again? Because I'm getting old, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, because this dude came from like the shit and was just like a thrasher, fucking crazy kid, and he's now the largest street art curator in the world. He's done shows, which I'm sure if you know anything about graffiti or art or street art, you know his shows. You're familiar with his work. He's done art in the streets. He's done Beyond the Streets, Los Angeles, New York, Shanghai, London. Excuse me, I don't know where else. He's a publisher. He's done all kinds of books with big name artists. He does film, documentaries. He's just a real humble, talented dude. Mr. Roger Gastman. What's up, Roger?
What's up, Bobby? San Diego.
Hey, as a filmmaker, you should be used to edits, right? And
yeah.
Just making it seem natural.
That's what he does. You're basically an editor, right? You edit making a show.
All day in my face, in my head, in front of me, in my brain, on paper, pencils.
Yeah, because you're putting shows together is basically like editing shit and placing it in where you want to do it. So, and then with the film and the books and shit like that,
just making stories.
We're real happy that you made time to come down.
I'm happy. We got a bunch of shit we're not going to talk about yet that we're here talking about, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff right now.
So we're just going to say stay tuned, because there's a couple projects that we're hoping will come to fruition. That's a good word.
Yeah. They probably will.
Yeah. I think
I'm not
so
going
too.
to fish, but next year, 2024.
Who knows?
You're fishing.
Yeah. Well, I suck at fishing.
See how good his microphone sounds?
Yeah.
I have no patience.
You stop fishing. You fed me some good food.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes. Shout out to the homies at Salud, Ernie, Vinny. We were going to keep going. We were going to show them the Bamba room, but the time is so
they
tight.
had these warm churros and this ice cream thing. Yeah. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good down here in San Diego. The vibe is, you feel it's different down here. It just feels different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we do. But I was man, dude, I like with your career, like how did you start, where was your interest? Like, how did you get into art and graffiti and all that kind of stuff?
As far back as I can remember, I was collecting stuff from when I was a little kid. A collection of this, a collection of that, a lot of traditional things you would expect, baseball cards, sports cards, quickly turned into records, quickly turned into something else. My mom did estate sales for a living, so I probably got a collector gene or bug or who knows. And she helped, of course, feed the addiction by things she would find and or turn me on to. Graffiti really has become my longest graffiti has become, you can edit me here. Graffiti has become my longest obsession, collection, life, livelihood, and all of the things that are connected to it. And that started very unintentionally back in the early 90s. I grew up in Bethesda, Maryland, right outside Washington, D.C. And by the time I was early 14 years old, I was heavily into graffiti. I was aware of it before then through friends, but, it really changed my life and became something that I have not been able to shake probably when I hit 14.
But that kid is still, like, I still see that kid in you. Like, I remember when you were kind of like a punk rock graffiti kid, right? Yeah, that's the kid I remember, and doing real mischievous, crazy shit. And there's something in my head. Didn't you know Bates, right? Yeah. Did you still go out there and hang out with him and do nutty shit times, too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they would all shake their head at me.
Yeah, well, I don't think they were the only ones.
Probably not. Hey, I'm still here though, right?
That's right. And then, you did magazines. You did one of the greatest graffiti magazines that most people will remember while you were sleeping.
We did While You Were Sleeping. It started as an accident in a sense. I was going to college in Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh, straight out of high school. I went for the summer program. It was all right. Did okay. Went back for the first semester. Didn't live on campus. I lived with two writers that were so much older than me at the time. They were like 25 and I was, 18, 19 years old. So at that time, you're like, holy shit, it's 1997. These guys are ancient.
Yeah, yeah.
And, they'd been writing since the late 80s.
Oh, fucking old guys.
I know. And it was a great time, and too great of a time, you could say.
Yeah.
Because school wasn't really working out. I had a lot of friends around the country that were writing graffiti. A lot of them were making their own magazines, were working at graffiti hip-hop shops in their cities. I'm sure a lot of the shops you would sell to.
Yeah, that was a great time, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And so instead of doing schoolwork, myself and my two now older friends would hop in the car, on a train, on a bus, go to one of these cities where I knew people. And they were shocked that I had this pen pal network around the country. And we would just pop up places and write graffiti and do dumb shit. At the time, I was also still selling caps, which for those of you that think it's some shit that goes in your head, it's the tips that go on cans of spray paint because they go fat, they go thin, they go softer, they go faster. They do all kinds of different stuff. And I got real tired of stealing them and then having to take my mom's nail polish remover and figuring out how to clean them. And we found the plastics company that had them. And once I had those, and this is back, back to probably 15, 16 years old, that really changed things. And it was just this unintentional network. Graffiti, I could tell a cap story for an hour. I could tell a While You Were Sleeping story for 12 episodes of this. And it was just all very unintentional. But, back to your question of Why You Were Sleeping started because I was fucking up in college because I was obsessed with graffiti. So I realized that was a mistake. I went back home. I had friends that were doing magazines, and my fuck up of an obsession of graffiti and friends that were doing magazines made me do a magazine because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, that took money, right? So you had to finance it and a lot of work because you had to provide content, and the content probably came to you, I would imagine, from, and when he was talking about a pen pal network is even with the clothing brand, even with Tribal, in the early 90s, there was this crazy, believe it or not, we used to send this thing called US mail.
What's that?
Yeah. You'd stick a picture. You'd have to go develop a photo.
Amazon?
No. And you put it in an envelope, like a letter. This is like made out of paper.
I think I've heard of
that.
And
yeah, you write a little letter by hand with a pen or a pencil, and you send some pictures, and you go check out my graffiti, or you send a drawing, check out my drawing, and you send them to different people. You put this thing called a stamp on it. And you could either, wet the stamp, lick the stamp, put it on this envelope thing, and you send it. And this was happening in a huge way during that time where people all over the country and the world were sharing their artwork, their graffiti, their drawings,
When you say sharing,
life.
That's important because you were sharing. I remember, we came in touch with each other probably in 97, and I shared stores with you. Yeah. I shared stores with everyone, and they would share stores with us. It's like, you're in San Diego, but do you sell these 5 stores in our area? You should call them. And I'd be like, hey, I'm in DC. Are you selling to these stores? You should call them.
Right.
And people were actually sharing.
Right. And that was part of sharing because we want, not for our love for the scene, and we wanted to see our friends and homies do good. And even if, like going into clothing, we did this with Third Rail. We did this with Gypsies and Thieves. We did this with Joker Brand. We did this with, Dies One and these different companies that were in the same market as we were, but we just shared. We wanted everybody to do well and for these shops to be sick, or really cool. And I'm going to go as far as say 99% of those shops are gone.
99.9% of those shops are gone.
That's right. And there's not much now. There are some cool shops here and there, but it's crazy the way that this network worked. I'm sure my amount of letters and envelopes and things that I have doesn't compare to what you have, but I've got some cool shit. I've got some. I think some of my most memorable stuff came from Barry McGee. Twist used to send me really, really cool shit, like stickers and drawings, and the envelopes were decorated really cool. And he used like a larger envelope. But you know, you get stuff from all over the world, but that's how that network grew. So I guess what I was saying was getting content for your magazine came from that same network, right? I'd assume.
Absolutely. I've been trading pictures with people, and I had a network of stores all around the country already because I had been selling caps for a few years.
There you go.
So I'm calling them to sell caps. I might as well be like, hey, I got a magazine. You want 24 of these too?
Yeah.
And I had friends in bands, issue or two in. Let's start working with some music. Let's put some music in.
Yeah.
I had friends that were graphic designers because at the time in the mid to late 90s, if you were into graffiti and you ended up going to college, you probably were going to go become a graphic designer.
Right.
It was right before everyone wanted to become a tattoo artist. So, you know, it was just the trend and the fad. So we knew people that were graphic designers. We knew people that were in music. Like it just seemed like why the hell not?
Yeah.
So it seems like you were learning as you were going, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I had no fucking idea what I was doing.
So did you monetize it in a way, or was there like an instant where you're like, oh man,
it worked because of caps. Like, I was getting caps from a plastics company that has discontinued them, which is sad. About a year ago, they discontinued them. But you know what? Krylon and Rust-Oleum changed their valve system. The European spray paint that's come in has kind of discontinued the spray paint nozzles as we used to use them. So it was a good run of a zillion years. I hadn't really sold them in years with the influx of European spray paint. But let's fast forward 1994, 1995. I'm sick and probably 1994. I'm sick and tired of not having caps. My friends are tired of not having caps. We'd go to New York. We'd buy them once in a while. They were expensive. You'd order them from magazines. They wouldn't show up half the time. They were expensive. We found a plastics company, which is another long-ass story that has them, but it had to do with going to the library and looking at manufacturing phone books from around the country, which they actually had. Libraries, who knows what those are?
Yeah,
Library cards?
Yeah.
Jesus.
See, that took initiative, right? You have to leave your house, get in the car, go to the library,
take the bus.
Yeah.
Now you just
you had to get there. You had to have a library card.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know, people don't understand how much work we put in to get to where we are, especially things are so easy now and so, basic and simple. So it's the magazine. Why'd you stop?
Well, you didn't even let me get it started yet. I'm still telling the cap story.
Oh, no, I thought we were already on the magazine.
No, you were asking about how I paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're still on the magazine.
So I'm selling caps and I'm getting it. So no, I'm not even selling them. And I find out where to get them. And I'm getting boxes of them of 14,000. It's 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches. For those of you that don't have any concept of size, that's like a milk crate. Mm-hmm. So we're getting milk crates of caps. At this point, let's say how much we paid for them, because why not? Mm-hmm. Paying about $120 for 14,000 caps. That's shipped to me at the time in the mid-90s. Rusto fat caps, those are the ones with the orange centers, New York fat caps, and New York thin caps. And I'm selling them $100. That's totally wrong. And you can cut that. And I'm selling them $8, I think with like $2 postage for 100 of them. So every day after high school, I'd go to my P.O. box and there'd just be cash in it. Great. We'd like go get food. We'd do whatever. I'd mail people their caps. I have enough money to send more caps. I'd sell $50 to stores for 1,000 of them. So the stores and then the kids that were buying caps would tell me about more stores in their cities. And like, it just kept spinning. So I literally had a couple hundred stores around the country and hundreds of kids that were buying caps from me, dozens and dozens a day. And then I'd have all these friends around the country. I'd literally just be sending out thousands of caps a week. I'd be sending them to my friends for free. Take this. Like, it's a really weird fucking claim to make.
Yeah.
But I really feel like I can take a good amount of credit from probably 1995 to like 2005 at least for like 75% of the vandalism that was done in the world with a New York thin cap, Rusto fat cap, or a New York fat cap.
That's nice.
Like, it indirectly went through me. And
it feels good, right?
It was great. Yeah. Thank God for vandalism.
That's right. Well, we wouldn't be here. you or me, if it wasn't for vandalism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. Thank you.
And that money that I was making from caps funded the magazine in the beginning. Because let's be real, there's no money in these kinds of magazines.
Mm-hmm.
There was no money in so much of this stuff. I mean, in half of them, so much of what you were doing, there was no money. It's the big couple orders you get here and there, but you need to keep the other stores going to keep it cool. So those big orders would want to come in, or you're screwed.
Right.
So, the Tower Records of the day, the Virgin Megastore, those kinds of places that the Workman's Outlet came up the other day. Wow. Places like that would order 200-300 copies of something.
Yeah.
That's what you'd be like,
beating on stock.
Shit. Yeah. Thank you. But the little store in Milwaukee that would order 6 magazines, you'd be like, fuck, this is a pain in the ass. And I'm basically losing money. But it was important to get those 6 kids in Milwaukee that goddamn magazine.
Yeah. So distribution was good. You had the stores. We had
it. I was picking up the phone. I was calling stores.
How would you produce the magazine? Were you doing it cut and paste on? No. Like how was it produced?
First, I mean, I never made like a cut and paste zine in my life, which is weird. We went straight into Quark Express, 24 pages, first issue. My friend Dave Dawson, Kier 1 from Washington, D.C. He was a little older than me. He just graduated from the Corcoran, and we sat down and we made the magazine in his apartment.
Nice.
And it was Quark Express.
I think that's kind of the guy that would help us with our early catalogs. I think that's what he was using too. Was that?
He used Quark, yeah.
Yeah. Was that on a Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joey Plus, Dave Lively, Bill McMullen, those guys, like those were the 3 guys, like I shit you not, that knew how to use the computer.
Yeah.
And in the 90s, like we were all just fax machines came after that.
Yeah.
Like we would get after the snail mail and the regular US mail, then we started faxing things. And that was kind of cool because we'd get faxes from overseas and, we'd be able to communicate a lot faster, like with visuals and letters and orders and fax your order in and shit like that. So that worked. How many editions did you do of that?
It's kind of a trick question because a partner came in, some weird shit happened, I left. I did probably how I wanted to do them, 15, 16 issues. When I left, we were on 18 or so, and a few more came out after that. Pretty quickly, I ended up in LA in 2003, 2004. 2003. I don't know. I was coming to LA all the time from the late 90s on. And I started Swindle Magazine, which is a whole other chapter.
Mm-hmm. And tell us about that.
Swindle Magazine was much more, I guess you'd say, upscale I
remember it being kind of fancy.
Yeah. I wanted to do something different. Not that I didn't like all like the, grimy while you were sleeping shit. And believe me, I hadn't necessarily grown up. I just wanted to do something different because I've been doing that.
Fuck growing up.
Yeah. So I partnered up with Shepard Fairey, who had been a longtime friend and partner in many things.
Great guy.
And we started Swindle, and the idea was timeless content. And we know not everything can be timeless, but we wanted to write about things where if you pick up the magazine in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, like you would be able to read a story that was interesting. When we were opening up old magazines, from the 60s and 70s and looking at design and type and be like, oh shit, look at that type. I want to do something like this. Oh, look at this fashion shoot. Look how they did that. Like we wanted to do something like that. We didn't want to just write about a shoe because it just came out or a band just because they had a hot single. We had done that and there's nothing wrong with that. We just wanted to mix it up and influence the next generations of graphic designers. Every single story in most magazines is about the type and the photo, and that's it. We wanted it to be about the type, the photo, and the graphic design of it, the illustration of it, the hand-done letters that went along with it, whatever it was. And we worked with 20, 30 artists probably every single issue and had them bring their own piece of work and twist to the stories we were doing. Not just here's the photo, here's the header font, here's the body copy. Wow. It was a lot of work. We were doing hardbound issues and softbound issues. We eventually stopped doing hardbound issues when the printer we were using's hardbound bindery broke. But I think we did hardbound issues up to like 13 or something. And that was a really fun different, interesting magazine that we actually kind of knew what we were doing by then. So we were actually doing our best to run it like a business.
Yeah.
And we were still able to put a lot of our friends in it because at that point, a lot of our friends had grown up a lot more and were serious artists. They had clothing brands that were going. We knew now someone that was working at Marc Jacobs or Belvedere, Motorola, or Levi's, whatever you want to talk about. And those brands are advertising. Those brands were working with us. Those brands were sending us stuff for fashion. Fashion photographers that were shooting for all the magazines that were charging a gazillion dollars at that point in their, 2004, 2008 era, as I'm sure you remember. 50 grand or 100 grand to go do that fashion shoot. You're crazy. And the stylists were this and that. And they were at that point just being told of basically what to do. And their creativity was kind of shot with it. They just wanted to shoot for us because they could call us with some crazy idea like they used to. But great, do it. I got $1,500. Go shoot it. And they'd be like, thank you. You're going to give me 12 pages to shoot this insane idea? Let's do it.
Sick.
And we did it.
Sounds like hella fun. 20 artists per.
Probably more than that. That's just on top of the editorial.
Where were you guys doing that at?
In LA. I was
Shepherd Spot.
I had an office in.
I remember coming to see you in a garage.
Yeah, I was in my garage in LA for a while.
Yeah,
and then I was at a different house I had in LA for a while. Then I moved into an office in like Atwater, Los Feliz. That was so sketchy and awesome and weird.
And awesome and weird.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah.
I drive by there sometimes. I'm like, and I look and I'm like, that place is still fucking weird.
But perfect.
But it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of strange things that went on in that building.
I could imagine.
And then, Shepard was out of his space at the Wiltern. And then we just made it go.
Badass. Yeah. When I came to see you, I remember a garage and I think a dog.
Yeah.
And we talked about, this was a long time ago.
Like 2005.
Yeah. Because I thought I was ready to do a book, but I wasn't. Yeah, man, there's this guy. So while you're sleeping, swindle. Wait. Collecting shit, like collectible stuff. What kind of stuff did your mom collect? And did you collect in those early days? Did your mom still collect?
My mom has been getting rid of stuff. She's at the point in her life where thankfully she's still here and with us and healthy enough.
That's right.
She's like, I have so much shit. You're not going to know what to do with it. Like, I'm going to just start getting rid of stuff so you don't have to deal with it, which is very nice. So as depressing as it is in a sense that she won't always be here, still like, thank you for getting rid of a lot of this shit. Cause you're right. I don't know what to do with it. And then I look around at all my shit. I'm like, no one's going to know.
Yeah. I could imagine how much shit you got.
It's like looking around your office and your studio here. Like your kids only want so much of it.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the estate sales in that area where you grew up, like Washington, D.C. There's a lot of like generations of stuff there from
so much shit. Early on, I start collecting records. I'm collecting records starting in 6th grade. I still have some of those records. I'm still listening to a lot of the same bands I was listening to then. I still have tattoos of the bands I was listening to then. It's the same shit, Why grow up?
That's right. I do that too. I actually the other day I sent my sister a photo of Earth, Wind and Fire's album since we've had. I don't know. She used to write her name on my records so she could take them to school. And I sent it to her. I go, why'd you write your name on my record? She's like, telling me it was whatever. We're still fighting over records. But those same records from, elementary school, junior high, I have all that shit still. Like that's the best stuff. So then, while you were so punk rock, graffiti,
hardcore music, then got into hardcore.
Did you used to skate too?
I tried. I sucked at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I liked it.
Yeah.
It was one of those other things. I'm like, if I get into this, if I get into collecting comic books, like it's just a whole other thing.
Yeah. That's, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of common threads that come through the show. And skateboarding is definitely one of them. Punk rock is definitely another one. A lot of people. And, people have this even with yourself, you're talking about graffiti, one of the 4 elements of hip hop, but you were crazy into punk rock. And people have a tendency, they want to box everything up real nicely and separate everything, where the reality is it's all fucking melted together.
It's so melted together.
Yeah. So, and it always has been, especially those elements, punk rock, skateboarding, and hip hop. Not for everybody, not to say there aren't the guys that are real hardcore traditionalists, like they stick to, this, they're only going to listen to this. They're only going to.
I feel like Yeah, I agree with you. You only want to listen to something, but if you don't understand the melding and the blending and the big fucking Cuisinart that put it all together, like you're not learning your history of any of it and seeing the same attitude. The show we just had in London, it was great. The second room, you walk in and there's a Clash banner that Futura painted in 1981.
God. How the hell did you get that?
It was a long, whole other thing too. But it's like 30 feet long, 17 feet tall. It's the first time you'd seen it since you walked off the stage in London in 81, 82. All the dates blend together. Then the other half of the room, there's a little bit of Jamie Reed, who creates the cut and paste artwork of punk rock that's still copied to this day, that he was similar artwork he was doing for the Situationists, which is all the original Sex Pistols graphics that he's making. There's 3D from Massive Attack with his art in the room. The other end of the room, there's a massive Bob Gruen photo we have blown up of Malcolm McLaren standing in front of the Keith Haring wall in the Bowery in 1984, 82, whatever, holding a boombox that has Dondi on it. So it's like a forfecta photo. And it's when he's doing Duck Rock, when he's doing all of that. So in this case, you have Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood with all the stores that were a mile from our space. Most famous probably being Seditionaries and Sex, which all the punk rock clothing's coming out of, where the Sex Pistols are formed. Then going on to the Sex Pistols, going on to all that ridiculous fashion they were doing. Quickly moving on to early New York, where he travels around with Duck Rock, Buffalo Gals, all of that, and goes into hip hop. And there's just, if you don't want to admit and do the research to see the blending of these cultures going back 40, 50 plus years now, you aren't respecting the cultures you're in anymore. You don't have to like it all. Just go learn about it. It's really interesting.
It's funny that you say that, because I was just in the Philippines and there's this whole rock hip hop thing where they're
Judgment Night.
No, they're just feuding. They just think that rock is like, it's pretty ridiculous. And I'm trying to educate them a little bit and say, look, a lot of hip hop was made from rock music. And there was you guys love this new metal stuff, and look at where that shit came from. Look at those bands. Look at just so much of just the way that things are so melted together. So
you got me excited. I thought we were going to talk about the old Judgment Night movie in the soundtrack.
I don't know that.
You don't know that? I was talking about it the other day. Judgment Night, it comes out in 92. And
I probably saw it. I just don't.
It's like Biohazard and Onyx and doing songs and the most ridiculous bands.
Evan Seinfeld was in Biohazard, right? Yeah, I seen him not too long ago.
Everybody should go look up the Judgment Night soundtrack and scratch your head. If you're over 40 years old, you'll scratch your head and be like, this is weird. Then you'll listen to it and be kind of happy and kind of disgusted at the same time.
But you're still fucking with the same stuff, basically. The music, the graffiti.
Same crap.
And you're still publishing things and doing books. So from there, Swindle, you were already everybody knew who the fuck Roger is. Roger was, Roger is, Roger fucking watch Roger go.
Everybody's cursing me, yeah.
Basically. But you were, but he had this reputation, as at least the Roger that I've always known, a little bit fucking nutty. This dude fucking was doing far out shit. From the beginning, like he said, stupid shit, crazy shit. And you'd hear a story about, did you hear what Roger did? But that's fucking Roger, and people respected that and they loved that. And when he had a presence as well. So, and to become the person and the accomplishments that you have now is fucking, who would have known?
Not me.
Who would have imagined? But you work with the biggest names, the best, and I'll say, just the cream of the crop in street art and graffiti. You have in your possession, because you are, I don't know what the word is. If you're, for the Beastie Boys, what would that word be? Where you have all their shit.
Babysitter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Organizer?
He's got
storage space?
He's got a shit ton of original Beastie Boys handwritten lyrics.
We've done,
you just did that show in LA.
2019, we started working with the Beastie Boys. We did something in New York with them where we showed a ton of the lyrics, their clothing, their ephemera. And then we just did we were supposed to do more. And then that COVID thing happened. And so that got put on ice for a little while. And we just did in Los Angeles, end of last year, early this year, a big show at our space in LA at Beastie Boys, 4,500 square feet. Again, all the handwritten lyrics, all kinds of stuff. And there'll be more coming from that soon. We're talking to a few museums. There's a lot more Beastie Boys stuff coming.
Just to be able to, and then, so you've worked with, are there any artists, street or graffiti artists that you haven't worked with that you want to work with?
We've worked with a lot of people, and I'm thankful for that. And one of the reasons we've been able to do it is we've just been authentic and respectful. And we've asked people also what they want to do, as opposed to going to them and be like, I know you did this. Can I have this? And doing our best to learn their history and do research and listen to them and, be friends with them, not just be like, cool, you did this. Thanks. Bye. Like, let's stay in touch. Why not? We don't always stay in touch, but like, let's have enough mutual respect to respect each other, then just look at you as, oh, you're a signature.
Right.
Or a check mark, in the box we need for this show.
Yeah.
Like, let's do our best to show we're respecting this culture. And that's also then by respecting their friends too and their story. There's still people to work with out there. Absolutely. As I learn more and see how many more damn tentacles this culture continues to have. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things we're down here talking about.
That's right. That's
more tentacles.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. And then when you're not working with the actual artists, I know, I've seen some Basquiat's in your shows. So you work with,
we've had when I'm not working with the actual artists, I'm at home with their voodoo dolls poking and be like, let me get this. Let me get this.
Yeah. There's, Banksy.
That was a whole other part of my life, working on Exit Through the Gift Shop. Yeah. That was
what did you do with that? Did you?
I did a lot. I did a majority of the interviews that take you through it. The big show at the end, we produced, a lot.
It was nominated, right, for an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
next
level shit.
I mean, it wasn't like me that was nominated, but the project I thankfully have a large stamp on was.
Yeah.
So it works.
So before I ask you who your favorite artists are, and you're entitled to that. I know it's hard. Like, people ask me too sometimes, and I'm like, sometimes I'll go ahead and spit out a couple names. And then usually after I spit them out, I go, oh, wait, no, hold on. But, yeah. So now, art in the streets and then beyond the streets, right? So how did you get from Swindle to art in the streets? And tell us a little bit about art in the streets and where that was.
Swindle had stopped. I was doing more brand work, more artist management, books, film projects.
What films were you working on?
The Legend of Cool Disco Dan, story about DC in the 1980s, violence, murder, crack, go-go music, Marion Barry, hardcore, all the stuff that dreams are made of.
Yeah.
When your mayor's on crack, it's all downhill from there.
He's in the movie.
Dude, that was a nice flow right there. Yeah. Had you done that before? He just spit that out like you wrote that.
Wall writers, the true birth of graffiti as it's known today.
Yep.
I'm not talking about gang writing. I'm not talking about political shit. I'm talking about writing your name over and over for the sake of fame. Everybody can claim something different in their city, but if we want to get real, it's late 60s in Philly and New York. We went and dug up the originators and literally almost dug some of these guys up out of the grave and did great interviews, worked with John Waters through the voiceovers, told that story. I was doing stuff, and through a friend, Jeffrey Deitch is doing the show at Mocha, and he needs someone to help work on it. And it was myself and Aaron Rose, and we stepped up, and Jeffrey made it happen, but we got it done. And it's still to this day the biggest show Mocha's ever had. 220,000 people came through that thing. Remember, there's no Instagram or Snapchat. I don't even think there's Twitter. People are on blogs. People are on Facebook. Probably still on MySpace or Friendster at that point. Damn. Yeah.
So then with that, the success of that, doors started opening up and projects started being...
More doors started opening. Absolutely. We really wanted to travel that show. It did not happen. Museums were afraid of the size of it, the scale of it, and the word graffiti and street art were just so dirty still. Oh, my city's going to get written on, blah, 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 blah. Like, your city's getting written on anyway. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Do you want to get it written on and buff a little bit and have all this tourism money and parking lot money and restaurant money and gift shop money and actually change fucking culture and bring young people into museums that were not coming into museums?
I think someone experienced that last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So So I got kind of tired of it. I was doing a lot of experiential media before the word experiential media was a buzz for brands. So
can you define that?
Experiential media.
Okay.
It's the trend marketing,
Okay.
Basically. Cool shit to make people care. Like, oh, look at that food truck with the blah, blah, blah character on it for so-and-so. Like, not the traditional outdoor advertising you were seeing and those things. So we're doing a lot of experiential, like crazy stunt brand work. And I was getting kind of bored of it. And I was like, I know how to do all this stuff. I know how to run a space. I know what a COI is. I know what egress means. I know how to call the fire marshal, or I at least know the permit guy to call the fire marshal because I don't want to deal with them. Blah, 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 blah. So let's just go do the show ourselves. And it was not easy. It was a lot of friends, a lot of beg, borrowing, and stealing, a lot of favors.
This was the LA show.
This is the LA Beyond the Streets in 2018. And we got it done. The city tried to shut us down multiple times, worked with over 100 artists. We did really big things. We had over 100,000 people come in. And the day we were supposed to open, one of the fire marshals and the permit guys from the city literally pulls his car into the show and tries to shut it down. Kind of just to be a dick. We made it go. It was a big fucking show.
It really was.
But every couple days there was a problem with the city trying to shut us down. This or that, the neighborhood bid trying to bribe us, you name it. Artists mad that they weren't in it. Then once they came and realized what the show was, they would see. There's so many artists I want to put in all of these shows. Artists, if you're not in my shows, it's probably not because I don't like you. It's because there's so goddamn many of you that I like. And I just don't have enough space. And I want to tell the stories of a lot of the people that I'm constantly around and are in my face. So not that I need more people in my face, but show me what you're doing. Like, I don't always know that you have full studio practices. And there's a lot of artists that did such important things at times in their careers that's all they did. And they went on to do something else in their life. That's totally cool. And we still go celebrate those things sometimes too. But yeah, there's so much out there and we can't do it all.
That was a total build out show. Like walking through that building, you're like, fuck, they built this.
Yeah, we built
everything.
You
made walls. You made rooms.
Oh yeah.
That
water
was
fountains.
Yeah.
You name it. Absolutely.
Oh, and then in the back, you guys duplicated the Venice.
Yeah. We went to New York next year because we hid ourselves and made it even bigger and crazier.
Yeah, it was 40,000 in LA square feet.
Yeah,
and then it's like 100
in New York.
Yeah, it's nuts.
New York was
more than double.
Yeah.
New York.
New York was cleaner, like in the sense the building, the area, and it was like a beautiful building that was brand new.
Yeah,
like no one had even occupied the
first
building.
people in it.
Yeah, no, the building hadn't even been occupied. The views were insane. You're up there looking at the show, and you look out the window, and it's Manhattan because you're right in Williamsburg, right on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was fuck, dude. I was blown away, dude. At that time, I was like, I don't know if it was you or somebody said, why didn't you tell me you were here or something? And we were in, and I was just, I knew you were busy as fuck. So I don't really.
That whole time is a blur.
Dude, but it was just insane. Is all this documented? Can people still visit these shows virtually or did you is there some place where people can go and to YouTube or some website and take a look at these shows? I know you have the book.
There's a lot of photos online and we have a lot of video. We documented everything well. And I mean, you should have seen
those are documentaries, dude. Each show's a separate documentary, right?
You should have seen what we did in London early this year.
Tell me about that.
It was wild. Saatchi Gallery in Chelsea, fancy ass building, 70,000 square feet, 3 floors. Just how it's laid out, it was so much space. And 150,000 people in 81 days.
What the fuck?
It was big.
That was the biggest then.
It was a lot.
You think?
We built some insane things for that. We had some crazy artifacts.
What was the craziest? The most insane
that we built?
Sure.
Paul Insect's rubbish puppets, which you just need to look up. I can't even describe it. It was the most insane thing. We had a huge Kenny Scharf Cosmic Cavern, and so many people stepped up for that show. Like, it wouldn't even be fair.
But you're in a position now where anybody that's going to do your show is going to step up because just the reputation and the image of the show. Like, they're going to know, like, once they're in your show, the Beyond the Streets, they know that they've made it, that they what else is there like that has that reputation or that caliber? You know, I doubt that there's anybody and that would say no to you. Like if you ask them to be in your show, they're not going to say.
There's a few, but yeah, we just shut a couple days ago. We just shut our first Asia show in Shanghai.
How'd that go?
It was big. Again, 100,000 square feet. That had our most ambitious builds we've ever done. For Steve Powers Espo, we built this 30-foot tall, not kidding, 30 feet tall like food cart thing, and the shit we built for that was unreal.
30-foot tall food cart. What's a food cart? Like a grocery cart?
It's literally like a grocery cart sort of thing, like powered by a bike, and like it's just like different levels. You kind of just got to see it. We built some, again, nutty things for that show, where we had a partner who would just do it, and we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's see what happens. One of the things that never surprised me at first, I get a lot of museum curators and directors to come through the show.
Why would that surprise you?
And I talked to all of them. Not all of them. There's a lot I find out about later. They're all like, this is great. I would love if our museum would do this. Holy shit, look at this gift shop. Holy shit, I learned this. And I'm like, why don't you do something like this? They're like, our board would never let us.
Oh,
we would never be able to do this.
Yeah.
Or this or that. Or this or this. I'm like, why not? Like, we're bringing multi-generational families in here that are enjoying themselves. You're a fancy-ass PhD curator. You're enjoying yourself. Like, you brought all your fucking friends from the museum. They're enjoying themselves. These celebrities walked through. All our reviews are good. And bottom line, you need people and you need gift shop sales to keep your probably boring-ass museum open, and you still won't do it. Like, I just kind of shrug my shoulders, and I don't want to say feel defeated. I feel excited that we're doing it. But I feel kind of bummed that these curators then often just cherry pick things. Oh, it's safe. We'll just go grab this little piece of this over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm happy it's going, because in the end, education through entertainment is our goal. And we have to be continuing to push culture and put on a platform to let these artists have more opportunities and have more eyeballs. More eyeballs create more opportunities. So I want these artists that are mostly our friends now to win. And that's the best thing we can do. So you know what? If the museums are cherry picking pieces, so be it. Maybe one day we'll just have our own museum and give them all the middle finger.
It'll probably happen.
Yeah.
What, so that was, fuck, dude, that was fast. That was Shanghai, London, LA, and then now, well, I don't know how long it's been open, but you have Beyond the Streets Gallery in Los Angeles.
We have two galleries in LA, Control Gallery and Beyond the Streets. They have a little bit different, vibe and feel, but they're right next door to each other and they can take each other over. So it's a little bit of like a kissing cousin situation, which no one likes when I say that. That gets weird. But I said it again. So there you go. Sorry, or I'm not sorry. And a gift shop, and our offices are there. It's been open a little over a year. We opened September 22, and it's our flagship. We do shows there. It's manageable. It's big enough. It's impressive. It's free, and you come check out shows. Some things are much more institutional and museum-like. We had an awesome Mr. Cartoon show. It was his first ever massive solo show. You checked it out.
Yep.
Did the Beastie Boys thing. Right now we have a show up, which will be closed by the time this probably airs, with Tim Conlon and Pose and Hus McNavin from Denmark. We're constantly doing new shit in there, and every couple months there's more to see, and it allows us the opportunity to focus on one story at a time and keep it moving. It's literally a flagship.
And it's a platform for you to have fun. One question regarding art in general, because you see so much and you've watched, like I have, a lot of these artists evolve into superstars or just badass artists or professionals or graphic designers or have clothing brands or whatever. So here we are. You just did this amazing show in, Shanghai and London a couple months ago, and, what you see in LA, and I'm always trying to look at who's next, what's next, where's this shit going? Like what, it's art. It's going to evolve into the next shit.
It's just still going. It's just a big ball of stuff that just keeps spinning. And the more I dig, the more I find. Like, again, why I'm down here in San Diego. story you're helping me unearth and uncover and tell, it's tied into it.
Right.
I'm always looking for the new great artists to work with. They come here and there and it works, but there's still enough people that are out there that are alive who need their stories told.
Yeah.
And there's enough people that unfortunately aren't with us anymore, but there's enough of their friends and their archives that can have their stories told. And there's still enough people out here to champion those stories.
Right.
And I want to do that. And I want to mix it with the new as we continue to naturally, and I hate the word, but organically discover it.
Right. Speaking of new, and I'll tell you before you even, I'm sure maybe you're different. NFTs, I was never a fan. I enjoy tangible pieces, things you can walk up to, touch, feel, things that are done by hand, like with a hand and a brush or a hand and a pen, a pencil, whatever. I didn't understand it completely. I didn't try to understand it completely. To me, it just felt a little bit like, what? Like a TV, a screen, and then you're showing all your art. Like I could do that with my digital archive forever, like got so much of it. And people, why don't you do NFTs? Why don't you? I'm like, well, because I had my reasons. It's not fair to the artist. It's just, wasn't into it. It seems like from what I'm hearing, and I don't know everything and I don't see everything and whatever, but NFTs look like they're starting to, I don't want to use the word flop, but it's just they're not as popular and they're not growing at the amount that they were previously. What do you think about NFTs?
I was never an expert in it. I have a lot of friends that have worked in it and worked in it from very early on, to before it was the buzzword, to people that jumped in it and a bunch of people that are still in it. I'm finding it more and more interesting the more I learn about it. No question. I don't really look at it as the market flopped. I look at it as the market leveled out, as the trend that was hyped has gone away, and the people that probably should not be involved in it, that were just there for dollars and not the actual community and creativity and camaraderie of it, are gone, or mostly gone, or being weeded out. There's still hundreds and hundreds of successful artists in the Web3 space. There's all the major auction houses are working with them, and there's really interesting projects that keep coming out. And the more and more I learn about it, the more I see just the true art that these artists are making. A lot of it, of course, being digital, that might not be able to be made with the pen and pencil and the things we're used to. So I've opened my mind a lot more to it, and it's interesting.
Maybe I should try that.
Yeah, there's also
eat some mushrooms and look at it.
I don't know how to do any of it. I don't own any of it, but I'm understanding the world more.
No, what you said makes sense. Like, open my mind a little bit, and I and most of our friends, mutual friends, the way that they've traditionally done art, the way they continue to do art, and a lot of these guys, like they can cross over. And I'll use OG Abel as the prime example. This dude's fucking a beast, digitally, with the airbrush, with the pen, he's across the board, just a fucking maniac. But, the digital art form and learning maybe to, I don't know, just look at it differently, or see what they're capable of doing that's beyond what I'm used to, and to try to be entertained by it and enjoy it.
I don't know if I'll ever be a collector of it, but I'm respecting it so much more than I used to, and I'm understanding it. So I'm not just like, as much as the old guy being like, what the fuck are those kids listening to?
Do you ever find yourself like that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, me too. So, favorites. Okay, so I know this is hard. Okay, I'll give you a couple. You give me a couple. You go first.
Strawberry ice cream.
No. Al pastor taco.
Hanna-Barbera.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I never list favorites, and I try never.
See, I knew you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
I try never even to name artists because it gets me in trouble.
Well,
that's what I'm saying, but we're gonna do it because of who you are and who I am. You have a favorite.
I have some favorites.
It's artists,
and people are gonna be like, really? Like I think people are gonna be a little bit like, Really? Like, yeah, I think
there's a lot of divas out there, so like,
no, but it's cool because I love. I'm like you. I love so much art. Like I love so much art.
Music.
Or here's how about the favorite piece? No, that's kind of putting us in a bad. Like the favorite piece that we own.
It's like music. There's different. Like you're in a different time.
Okay, so today, why don't we do that today? Like it could change tomorrow.
I'm still into strawberry ice cream today.
So you won't do it. Dude, come on.
Gets me in trouble.
Why? How could it be in trouble? If somebody is gonna be hurt, then come on, man. Then they need to that artist needs to kick back a little bit. I'll tell you, Doze Green.
Great artist.
One of my, I'm gonna say in the top.
I can't get him to send me art for the shows though. He was in New York. Tried for LA, tried for London, tried for Shanghai, just gave up. Spacey dude, great artist.
That's him, dude. I have this piece. It's a 3-panel piece. I had it in my office at the other building. I have it at home now. I'll look at that piece and I'll find new shit almost every single time I look at it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, oh shit. Like it's an amazing piece. So that's it. And for the listeners, if you don't know who Doze Green is, do your research. He was an amazing B-boy. I would put him in the founding fathers of hip hop section. He's Rocksteady crew. He was that guy that I had a lot of these B-boy characters in graffiti were painted after, like his style, the way that him as a character. I would say that then, and obviously he's from the East Coast, but the West Coast artists, that's where I would get in trouble.
Yeah. Cause they can come to your house still.
Yeah. They're all my boys, like guys that I love dearly, like that are, and there are some amazing ones and hopefully, yeah, but
I'm looking for something to show you, but, I don't know if I can find it.
So, is there going to be another Beyond the Street soon?
If I'm still standing, it keeps going and keeps going, and it's exciting and it's different. I did 2 this year, and it hurt. I never expected to do that 2 in a year, but COVID kind of just happened, and it really fucked.
You don't sleep too much, huh?
And we did this year, and I can't find what I was going to say.
We were communicating. I was here, and he was in Shanghai, and all hours. Like he was like available pretty much. Like he doesn't sleep. It would be it's like 4 in the morning, 3, 2 in the morning. Or no, go ahead and call me. What time is it there? It's 6, 7,
sleeping
8
shifts.
Yeah.
There'll be more Beyond the Streets. 2 this year. It was hard. Just because they're so massive and there's so many moving pieces. And at the same time, we had the gallery going, probably released 10 books this year. And it's a lot.
You must have an amazing team.
I have a great team.
And I hear you use the word, and I really have respect for people that do that. You say we.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm listening to this book right now called Givers and Takers. And yeah, you're a giver.
I'm trying to be. We're getting it done. And, I have ideas for some more shows. We're talking to a bunch of cities, and I don't want to just come back with the same show and same artist. Not that there's anything wrong with the artists. We love them, but I want to work with them in a different way and do some new mind-blowing things. Yeah.
I think that's important, and try to bring in new artists. Like that's what excites me. I think that's still what excites me about the brand. That's kind of one thing that I think excites me, and social media, it's a love-hate relationship, and the love is I get to see so much stuff from all over the world, and I've been introduced to, become friends with, or hip to, or whatever, so much amazing art on social media. Like I was telling you, Keeps, the guy from the Czech, he's a Mexican-American dude living in the Czech Republic. He goes all over Europe, but he's insane. Like, and just other artists that pop up, even guys that are hitting me up from Indonesia. Like,
I'm getting hit up from everywhere. And again, like, so much of it I love. So many of them I want to be able to talk to and answer their questions. it's just too much, as you know, and there's just not enough room out there. Or in everything we're doing, but there's a lot of room. There's a lot of galleries, and something I would like to keep having happen is what we're doing influence enough people to get off their ass and stop talking shit that we didn't include this person or that person, go open their own damn gallery, go figure out how to go do their own museum show, make their own magazine, whatever it is. Like, keep getting out there and doing it, because you and I only have so much energy and so much bandwidth, no matter how great the teams are. And there's enough people in our stables that we've been working with that are fantastic, that we want to keep working with, that keep telling the stories and keep challenging us, which is important.
Yeah. It's exciting. Like, talking to you on the phone the other day, is we get into these conversations where we're talking over each other. We're trying to talk, and you go, no, I'll go, no, you go. But part of it is because we're still so fucking excited. Like, I get really excited, and I was telling him, it makes me happy to see how excited Roger still is, like how stoked he is to work on these shows and to do some things. And I don't think not sleeping bothers him. Does it bother you?
Not really. While you were sleeping.
Too excited.
You know, fuck sleep.
Yeah,
you know, I do sleep, but yeah, man, that's because I eat a bunch and have a couple drinks. have a couple drinks, and then I'm out.
Yeah, new artists keep us going. Old archives we find, which are basically new things, keep us going. And there's more stories to tell. So I still got a little bit in me.
How about films? You got any films or anything coming up?
I got a couple films I'm in the very early stages of working on. There's a couple of interesting books we have coming out soon too.
You just did a different. What was the latest film?
It was like 2 years ago now, but it seems like yesterday. Rolling Like Thunder.
That's it. Yeah.
Freight Train Graffiti.
And people can see that.
We made it for Showtime. It's all over. I made it with Sasha Jenkins and Tim Conlon, Joseph Patisol. Tells the story of Freight Train Graffiti through a bunch of eyes of some of my derelict and not so derelict friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I want to say I saw it on Prime or something.
Yeah, it was probably because Prime and Showtime show, I think, the same stuff.
Yeah. But you'll be hearing more from Roger. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
If you're in LA, come check out our space on La Brea in between Melrose and Beverly. There's often new shows, which are
And if people want to get your books,
BeyondTheStreets.com is the easiest place to get all the junk we make. You know, gifts, hate mail, whatever. I'm easy to find.
And yeah, he's got some really thick skin too. You can't insult this guy.
I've heard it all every day.
Yeah, but he does some of the coolest shit. The coolest shit. Period. And the baddest shows I've ever been to. He inspires me. And he's just a badass dude. And BeyondTheStreets.com, there's books, there's prints, there's all kinds of shit, merch.
You need all of it.
Yeah. Get all of that. Roger Gastman, Beyond the Streets. We're going to close it out.
RogerGastman.com.
That's right. You got that too?
We got it all.
And he's got the IG, the Beyond the Streets IG, right?
Yeah, and the Roger Gastman.
There he is. Johnny B. Good.
Always a pleasure. Sorry about the technical
we had
here.
And thank you, Roger, for bearing with us. We had some technical difficulties. Johnny Sweats, Bobby Tribal, aka Bobby Ruiz, Tribal Streetwear. Oh wait, one thing real quick. If you're listening to this shit and you haven't listened to some of the other episodes, we got some hot ones. You might want to go back and check out some of the older shows too. There's some real good ones in there. I don't want to start mentioning names, but there's a lot of good ones, man. Check those out. Lower Left Podcast, 17th and Island, San Diego, California. We're out.
Bye.